Welcome to a Milk Market Tidbit for the November cold storage report that USDA released yesterday afternoon. This is Dr. Lawrence Jones, and I'm actually recording this Christmas Eve here. So the cold storage report is the second report of the month. The first one was the milk production report, and then we're going to get the dairy products report here at the beginning of January. And what we're trying to figure out is disappearance with all of these different reports. And so the dairy products report will give us the production of cheese, and then the cold storage gives us the residual. Now, one of the problems in this calculation is for 30 days, cheese is kind of what I would call in limbo, and it's the fresh cheese that controls the spot market, but may not actually get into the cold storage report. So when this report came out, we had some revisions to the October numbers. The biggest thing is that we raised the cold storage of cheese by about 5 million pounds from what we thought it was. And that would suggest that October had a little bit less demand than we had calculated. Now, butter was just 227,000 or so pounds, not a big deal. So these were the typical numbers that we ended up with. And so cheese came in about 11 million pounds higher than what we had it at. So it only drew down about 13 million. Now that's still an impressive drawdown, except last year we drew it down 20 million. The big surprise was butter. We drew that down 54 million pounds, and that was really a surprise. And last year we drew it down by 27 and change. So what does all this mean? Well, probably the November disappearance is a little bit less than October because we had built, this typical, assuming the same disappearance. And then October cheese disappearance was probably worse than thought because we ended up with more residual than what we had originally thought. Now, right after the report, the trade did not like this. It kind of dropped. It dropped more this morning, dropped more overnight. But right now, this number is up to 1938. And so we've had a significant rise in the February and March contracts. They're up 29 and 32 respectively. So in this shortened week, it actually turned around after the spot market today. When we look at the forward curve for cheese, I feel it's about 6 cents is the minimum that required to put cheese in cold storage and take it back out, kind of 3 cents to get it cooled down, 3 cents to warm it back up. So once we get into January, I'm not sure it makes a lot of sense to put cheese in cold storage to pull it out 6 months later, a couple cents higher. But this December contract, definitely would be one that you'd want to be putting cheese into cold storage maybe a little bit more aggressively than you would otherwise. So overall, stocks came down, but they came in about where we expected them to on this particular graph. We'd been going up for quite a while, and there's that trend kind of continued on. And December of 22 is, I think, when we really started to fall off here, and so we've been pulling down cold storage. You got to remember, we had a high up here at the 1.5 billion, and so now we're down to like 1.3 and change. One of the things that kind of controls whether things go into cold storage or not is whether we're exporting. And so these are the current prices. The global dairy trade for cheddar is up to 213, so that's staying fairly high. However, the last National Dairy Sales Report was $1.92, and so there's a black dot in there because there's enough difference between this global dairy trade and here to be exporting. However, the spot market is down to $1.82. Now, one of the things that's kind of interesting is we tend to have, a fairly wide difference to where we could export for about 3 months, then boop, it goes up about 3 or 4 months, then boop, it goes up. So the question is will we be exporting here for 3 or 4 months and then shut it off? But I think right now, when we look out to the future, the new cheese capacity is changing a lot of the narratives. So here's our American stocks, same scenario as total. And I was interested because it kind of looks like American stocks are coming down faster than other, but in fact, this is still 57% of the total cheese in cold storage. And it's only this last dot that is really off of that long-term trend. Other stocks, look exactly the same way. We started falling off, really in December of 21, 22, it was off of that curve, and then 24 definitely is down. But again, that's not too far off from where we expected it to be. Butter stocks look totally different. We've been going up, and it's continuing to go up. Now it has slightly different slope. I think these will probably all straighten out here. And it came in less than what we thought it would. Again, that 54 million drawdown was pretty significant. I think the difference here is cheese production kind of goes down and milk production is kind of steady or down. Fat test just keeps going up, and so there's plenty of supply to keep butter stocks full. And if we look at where we are right now on the forward curve, I mean, you would want to put butter in cold storage if you possibly could, because you're going to put it in at 255, 258 and pull it out at 285. So that looks like a good scenario there. So I said we had a cold storage report on Monday, and then Christmas is tomorrow. And then on Thursday, we're going to get the National Dairy Sales Report a day late, so not a lot going on here for the rest of the week. So we're going to get the class and component numbers the following Thursday, and so that will be the next milk market tidbit summarizing those class and components, followed by the dairy products report.